Let me know. Ready, am I in? All right, you guys ready?
We good?
Let's do it.
What's up, you guys? This is the Hendo Podcast. I'm your host, Courtney Hendo, and I have some superstars in the building. You know, when I say superstars, I mean some real deal superstars, the cream of the crop. You are freaking welcome. Guess who I have in the building today? I'm going to start from my left.
How do I start?
If you guys don't know who these people are, you need to get your life together because they take over the Instagram. I'm pretty sure you've seen their photos everywhere. I'm inspired by their photos, all of them, models, photographers, everything. This is a learning session today, guys. Everybody on live right now on Instagram, get your notepads out because school is in session, baby. School is in session, baby.
He needs to narrate my
You know
life.
what I'm saying?
Right?
So,
Hype me up.
you guys, how you doing? My man Noah. Let's start from Noah, then we'll work our way around. Tell him what you do, your Instagram name, and kind of like a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Noah Nash. I'm a fashion and beauty photographer. I live in San Diego, but mostly based in LA. Most of my work is about like magazines and just making that editorial look with with models. Yeah,
Okay,
that's pretty
okay.
much sums it. Yeah.
That's a very humble intro. If you go to his Instagram right now and you go to Noah Nash, you know, Instagram, then you be like, yeah, that guy is this very humble person, you know. So to Noah's left, we have another monster photographer, Stupid. You know, I've seen this guy work all over Instagram and advertisements and things of that nature. I was like, who the hell is shooting these photos? Let me tell you this. Let me tell you a quick story before he even introduced himself. He came to the studio and I was trying to help him, and he was like, dude, I got this. Leave me alone, dude. Like, I got this. I know what I'm doing. I'm like, bro, you don't know what you're doing. Let me help you with this lighting setup. He looked at me like I was stupid. Like, bro, you're in my way right now. I said, all right, then, dude, go ahead. Fuck your photos up. Go ahead, dude. So I go to this guy's Instagram. I was like, oh, shoot, you Moody dark photos. Oh, okay. My fault, man. My fault. You know. So introduce yourself. I think I already did it for you, but go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah. So my name's Oswaldo. I go by Waldo. And my Instagram handle is Moody Darkroom. That's on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, like everything. Moody Darkroom. And I'm a portrait photographer. Where do I look? Who am I supposed to be looking at?
Look anywhere.
I'm gonna look at this camera. I know, because I don't know where to look. I'm gonna look at myself on the screen, or this camera over here. So I do portrait photography, and I do like more conceptual style portrait photography. I really like lighting, so I make my lighting look really nice and pretty. And yeah, I've been doing photography for a year now, and it's been pretty well. So check me out on Instagram and give me a follow. You're cool.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. And this last person here, very, very elite model in San Diego. I was a fan for her before I even like met her. And you know, a lot of people come to the studio and like, dang, I want to shoot with such and such, such and such. Yeah, Sydney is real nasty. You know, very amazing. I mean,
those adjectives.
After a drink
I don't
or
gotta say
two.
nothing.
Come on.
I don't gotta say nothing. The comments will tell the story for sure. So introduce yourself, tell her what you do, and what you're, you know, a little about yourself, a little bio, not too much, a little too much.
My name is Sydney Stone. I go by the Beast and the Babe on Instagram because I have a lot of animals. It just keeps escalating. We just got a bunny, Beetlejuice. Check him out. He makes appearances.
Dope name.
Right. So good. I do a lot of outdoor stuff. Not a ton in the studio. Don't get nearly enough time here, but a lot of outdoor stuff as kind of conceptual as well. And I try to just do the things that a lot of other models don't. So a lot of hypothermia, a lot of injuries, a lot of bruises that my best friend Steph has to edit out all the time. But yeah, we try to push the boundaries every shoot we get, and I'm kind of down for most things.
You cold-blooded. You're an amazing model, and it's an honor to have you guys in the studio right now and on the podcast. You know what I mean? So, but let's get into this podcast because we have a lot to talk about for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, whose phone is
this one. Let's get into your story a little bit. Noah, I'm gonna go by because all of you guys are masters at what you do. So let's start one by one and kind of dig in a little bit.
Start with me.
And we're gonna ask some generic questions, and you know what I mean. Like I gotta ask some generic questions. You know, yeah, it's I gotta run through these generic questions, then we'll get to more intricate, fun questions. But I gotta answer the questions everybody wants. Like, how did you get started? What inspires you to be a photographer? So Noah, what inspires you to be a photographer?
It's funny because before we started this podcast, I was like, I'm kind of scared of this question because literally what inspired me, it was a hobby.
Yeah.
And then I started school, and then I needed some job that I can just do 2 days a week. Pays me enough to pay tuition. It was photography. So I just kind of like turned my hobby into like a full-time job, I guess.
Man.
And honestly, it did so great. And I like ever since I was a kid, I used to draw and everything. So I used to always be artistic. But I would have never imagined I would be a photographer, honestly.
Man.
Because it was just never an option to me, honestly. And yeah, I started it, and it was great. I really love it.
Are you still in school?
Yeah.
Quit
Unfortunately.
Hey, quit school immediately. You don't need to go to school. You shoot too damn good. You don't need to go to school. You're wasting your time. There's nothing you can do better in school right now.
I'm scared of
just jump out of school. Drop out.
Professor will see this. This guy.
Man, you're an amazing photographer.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
How I got started. So I actually got started when I lost my job during COVID, and I lost my job. And you remember like the first 2 weeks of COVID, we're all like, oh, 2 weeks, we'll be back to normal in 2 weeks. I was like, all right, yeah, let me just get my camera. Let me shoot in my room, see what I can do. And at the time, like I downloaded TikTok, and I was like looking through TikTok, and one of the things that was popular at the time were like photo shoot ideas. So it was like, watch us do this. And it was like the spotlight look. And I was like, I can do that better. I was like, I know I can. I know for a fact I can do that better. So I was like, I'm going to make myself do this better to prove that I can do it better. Just like a little challenge. And then I was like, wow, like photography is kind of fun. So I started shooting every single day. And then that's when we found out that COVID wasn't over after 2 weeks. I was like, okay, I got a month. And then it goes back to normal. And then it just never stops. I was like, okay, well, I've been doing this for a few weeks now. Let me see what I can actually do. Make this into an actual job. So I was like, okay, let me try and get some gigs. Let me try and get some money from this. And then I had an opportunity to move out here, and I was like, can we swear on this? Dude. Okay. I didn't want him to hate me because he's gonna have to go and censor me every single time. But I was like, dude, fuck it. I'm gonna pack my car. I'm gonna move to California. Because in my head, I was like, if it doesn't work out, I can just move back. There's a pandemic. Everyone's kind of life's just kind of slowed down. If I'm gonna get anywhere, it's gonna be right now. So I was like,
oh, so you moved to California?
I moved here to pursue photography because I'm from Wisconsin, and in Wisconsin. Forget about it. Dude, you're not going to... My hometown's 20,000 people. Damn. 20,000 people. Small ass farm town in the middle of nowhere. The closest city is 45 minutes away. It's is a whole lot different. So
boonies.
Yeah, no, out there you're not getting any work if you're doing photography. Maybe if you're doing wedding photography, but even then people don't get married that much. Right. They'll get married once. 10 people get married each fall. It's you're not gonna get any work doing that.
Just wait for them to get divorced and married.
Exactly. Hey, I saw that divorce, by the way. Let me know. So I was like, yeah, I got to get out of here. I was like, let me pack my bags. I packed my car with as much stuff as I could. I left my bed, I left my dresser, I left everything there, and I just bought it secondhand over here. And then I just kind of started grinding. I did Instacart at first when I first moved out here. Yeah. Because I was brand new. I didn't know anyone. I was like, okay, not a smart idea moving out here without a clientele. Right. But now I'm in a position where I can actually get the clientele. So I was like, okay, let me just do something to pay the bills. And then all the time that I have left, I dedicate to photography. That's so crazy. I was doing Instacart just enough to get my bills paid. I was paying my rent and stuff. And then any other extra time, once I calculated, I was I need to make exactly this much money, and then I can go and do my photography. So I did that for a few months, and then 2021, I said, dude, why did I move out here if I'm only paying my bills through Instacart? I was like, fuck it, I'm going full time photography. So I stopped doing Instacart. I stopped doing any other thing that wasn't photography, and then I was like, I'm gonna chase this full force. And then that's when I started getting paid gigs. That's when I started doing collaborations with bigger names and stuff. And then my Instagram went from 5,000 in January to 20,000 in February.
That's crazy.
So I was like, okay, that's kind of crazy.
20,000 followers in what? I mean,
in a month. Yeah, in about a month. And then from January to June, I went from that to in June I hit 60,000.
Damn.
So it really blew up. And then now I've worked with some pretty big names, and now I get bigger names and stuff in my DMs now. So I'm like now I'm like, yo, like, there's no way I can fail. Like this is like legit now. Like I got a path. I know exactly where I'm gonna go. Like I got everything road mapped. I'm planning on moving up to LA next year because I have like so many more connections in LA. I drive up to LA like twice a week.
Okay.
It's a fuck ton of gas.
Wow.
But I can write it off on my taxes. So
That's crazy.
Win-win.
Is there any way you can take over my social media? Because I need some followers, bro.
Dude, I got you.
Damn.
That's crazy. So like, yeah, that's kind of how I got. I just happened and I like, fuck it. Like, so.
What do you
That's
think made
awesome.
it take off?
Well, I like studied how Instagram was working, like how the algorithm was working, and like all these people on Instagram, they're like, oh, I know the secrets, and they don't fucking know the secrets. They don't know what they're talking about.
Notes after the podcast
You should take notes. Yeah, we can cut it, and I'll give you guys the sauce.
Bro,
I can give you guys the
It's a whole
sauce.
different type of podcast that we
Yeah, no, I can give you the sauce.
This is another direction.
Because also,
We'll need more questions.
not even just Instagram too. Like I did TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at the same time, and I built all of them separately. Like I didn't like tell people to go follow my other accounts.
Yeah.
I like built them separately.
Wow.
So I built my Twitter from 0 to 20,000. I built my Instagram from 0 to 60,000. And I built my TikTok from 0 to 100,000 in less than a year.
So the question is, do you think it's just from your unique style that you shoot?
I think so. I mean, there's obviously more to it.
Right.
I'll explain more of it.
Yeah, we'll get a little deeper.
Yeah, we'll talk more about it.
We
But
heating up.
yeah, there's variables that
We heating up right now.
Yeah.
So Sydney, my girl Sydney, this is a nurse by day and supermodel by day and night.
by day
All
too.
day and night. You know what I mean? So what inspired you to start modeling? Like,
I didn't start off to be a model. I had a friend who was getting started with photography.
Okay.
And she needed essentially just a human body, and I, who have both 2 arms and 2 legs,
Wait, you have a body?
volunteered to be just the one.
I didn't know that.
I just essentially stood in front of the camera.
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty worthless at the time. And then she had another friend who was getting started with his photography. It was Zev, actually another really
My
great
guy
photographer.
Zev,
Your
yes.
guy Zev,
That's
who
my
shoots
guy.
Here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to see where he's gone with that because he was getting started at the same time and developing his style, and he also needed arms, legs. So I stood in front of that one, and then it just kind of went from there. And then things started to change a little bit when I kind of found my wheelhouse of styles that really suited me, or styles that I felt like I could really make the photographer's vision come to life. That's when things started kind of clicking into place and feeling like I was making art as opposed to just, standing there like an idiot.
so your poses. One thing I noticed about your photos, your poses are very unique, really passionate poses. You know what I mean? Your photos look completely different from other models. How did you learn how to pose like that?
I think I started with the basic idea that photos look good when there's a lot of like angles and depth in them. So I just started, doing weird shit with my arms, and then lots of trial and error of like, oh, too weird, dial back. And then looking on Instagram to see what other models had done, what looks good, what kind of fits with certain vibes, because different body shapes, facial expressions suit different moods and different projects. So I tried to figure out what that mood and what that project is, and then use that as a starting point.
Gotcha. Because man, your photos are really crazy, especially the ones you just posted like recently. Do you archive some of your photos as well?
Some of them,
Okay.
I think like we were talking, I was saying that I've kind of found my lane. I think I've started to pare down my Instagram to kind of cultivate that a little bit more and be a little more thoughtful about what I do and have my Instagram reflect that.
Oh, you go. There you go. You're killing it, girl. I'm just trying to be your friend. You know what I mean? That's all I am. So let's ask a couple more generic questions, and we're going to start getting into the meat and the potatoes.
We love generic questions.
Let's talk about the cameras now. What type of cameras do you guys use?
So I use
You
a
better
Canon.
say Canon,
If you
guys.
say that,
All right. Okay.
if anyone says
Okay.
Nikon, I'm leaving.
But I recently bought a film camera and it's Nikon.
Okay, that's different. That's different. That's different. That's
All right.
different.
You
Yeah.
get away with that. You get away with that.
I use 5D Mark IV. I might switch to mirrorless next year. Not sure. I'm just not a huge fan.
Okay.
Yeah, right now I'm not a huge fan.
5D Mark IV.
Yeah,
And
I like
what's,
the DSLR.
and what's your favorite lens?
It's funny. My cheapest lens, the cheapest lens I bought, it was like the 100 ml, and I got it used for like $400. But that lens made me thousands of dollars.
50.
No, the 100 ml.
100.
The macro. The
Okay,
one
yeah,
you shoot
yeah.
for beauty.
Okay.
That lens made made me so much money, and it was the cheapest lens ever.
You want to see all the detail and everything. That's what you are. Thanks. All right, notate that. Let me write that down. Notate that.
Yeah.
I mean, what type of camera do you use, and what's your favorite lens?
I use Sony. I'm a Sony boy. I believe in Sony elitism.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
What do you mean?
I'm so sorry. To hear that.
What do you mean? Nah, Sony's elite. I actually started with a Sony A6400, and I used that for like a year, and then I got a Sony A7 III, and I just picked up a Sony A7S III for like video work.
Wow,
So,
nice.
3 Sonys, and then the cool thing about Sonys is E-mount. Fucking so many lenses to choose from, but I just
Not like Canon, bro. But you got a
you're
couple.
right, not like Canon, better than Canon. Better than Canon.
Well, hey, about them damn photos, bro. I ain't arguing with you.
He's like, who invited this guy?
You know what I mean?
But
But them photos you kicking out, I ain't arguing with you. You know?
I think my favorite lens is actually the cheap Nifty 50.
Nifty 50, I have that.
It's like
lens.
$150. I've used that for like
150
over a
bucks, yeah.
year. That has made me so much money.
You shooting with $150?
I'm shooting with a
lens
$150 lens,
and producing those
and
photos.
not a single person ever knows.
I'm gonna kill myself.
Dude, no one ever knows. Dude, it's a good lens.
For 2 years straight, I was using that, and it's like I got it for like 120.
Dude, yeah, it's cheap.
Really good.
It works
Really?
though.
Yeah,
It works.
It's a really good lens.
The only time you need like a super expensive lens is if you're doing like a lot of detail. Like if you're like you want to see the pores, but like I'm like standing far, so I'm like I don't really care about that.
Yeah.
So
No one needs force.
and then I also picked up like a 35 millimeter Samyang recently, which is like it's like a $400 lens. That one's really good too. And then I just got some Tamron zoom lenses.
So you got like 80,000 lenses now.
I got so many lenses.
So what's your favorite one?
The 50.
50.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Yes, I
Yeah.
saw his work. I was like, that's a 50.
Yeah.
So
That's a
question.
50 picture.
Do you guys think that equipment is important?
No, not at all.
Why do you think that?
Because I built up my entire following and I built up my portfolios and stuff with $20 lights in my room in Wisconsin. No studio, Sony A6400, $100 lens. Like,
Do you think that works for any style?
I think it works for the
gonna ask you
majority.
that.
For the majority,
Hard-hitting
of, a lot of
questions.
Let
styles.
them know, Sydney.
I think there's obviously levels to
Want
it.
to take a break?
No. Hey, give me some. Co-host.
I think there's levels to it. I think once you reach a certain level, then gear begins to matter. Because there's like some concepts I could not do
Are you
without.
at that level?
I think so. I think so.
Are there more levels?
There's definitely more levels to be achieved. So the thing is, there's levels that you need to get to before you can be like, okay, like my equipment's holding me back. Like my Sony A6400, it's really good in low light. It's not the best in low light. So like I hit a point where I'm like I like how my stuff looks, but it could be better. And now that I have the expendable money, I'm gonna get a camera that's gonna make it better.
Right.
And like going crop sensor to full frame isn't like that big, but when you go from like an A6400 to an A7 or A7 III, like the low light performance is just so much better that like the concepts that I was doing, like I wasn't held back by how much light was actually on the subject anymore because it's just like so good in low light. It's basically a night vision camera, like a life hack right there. Like
100%.
a lot of my stuff looks good because like the camera is just so good.
Yeah.
But I can still achieve that without that camera. It's so much harder to do. So it's like one of those things where when you get to a certain level, instead of making it harder on yourself, you can spend a little bit more and make it easier on yourself. And
Absolutely.
the more efficient you can make it on yourself, the better work you can do.
Well, you're more artistic photographer.
Yeah. I do more artists. I don't really focus too much on like the objective, like, oh, it has to be perfectly in focus. I mean, most of us, I hope my stuff's in focus, but
Right.
like I don't focus on like the optics of it because with my work, a lot of my work's pushed more through like the emotional aspect of it.
Right.
I want people to look at my work and like feel something.
Right.
I feel like when you're making work like that, the nitpicking of like how sharp the lens is really doesn't matter at that point.
Right.
Because that's not the goal of it. When you're doing like product photography, then that's when you need like a nice lens.
Yeah,
So
right.
it really
100%.
depends. It depends on what kind of photography you do too. So
So, what would you classify your style as photography? What type of photography would you say you do?
So wait, before that, I actually want to
Okay.
answer the question that you
Okay.
asked him first.
All right.
If equipment matter.
For sure.
So equipment. So here's the thing. I think when you start with like less equipment or like your equipment is not as good, I think that makes you a better photographer.
In what?
And
way?
then
Explain
because
yourself.
like let's say you only have a 50 and you're shooting with a 50. Instead of zooming in and out, you're using your feet. And now you're like either hiding behind a bush and stuff like that, and like you're actually using certain angles. And when you're
It's empty. Yeah, I started holding the phone. Go ahead. Yeah, we're gonna end that live. Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think like less of equipment in the beginning does make you a better photographer. So when you actually get that equipment at the end, you know how to use it.
Right.
So for example, when I started with like shooting with lights, I got a Godox light, and I believe it was like $200 light. So I used to use it, and then I reached a limit, and I was like, the color of the light, I don't like it.
Right.
So when I got a $2,000 light, which is a pro photo, I know I got it, and I know the difference in colors. I know the difference in consistency when it comes to like each photo. So someone that didn't shoot with like a Godox in the beginning might not know the difference, and they're just shooting with it and they're hoping for the best.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I think equipment doesn't matter, and I honestly think like if you actually start with less equipment, that would make you a better photographer.
So you got to graduate to the good stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. Like master your camera before you actually upgrade. Master your lens before you upgrade. That's the most important thing.
Big
Right.
facts.
And I honestly believe the best photographers in the world are natural light photographers.
Really?
Yes. I mean, there's a lot of photographers.
Explain yourself,
Fight
my
for it.
man.
No, honestly.
Let's go.
No, this is not just my opinion. Look at the photographers in the world. Peter Lindbergh. This guy.
He's not a natural light photographer, though.
He is a natural. Have you seen his pictures?
Yeah,
He's the guy that does like
some of them.
he sold that cave photo for like 10 million, right?
Yeah.
I think so, right? That might be him.
So, like.
But he has
I think
he's a more iconic style, though. Penny Lindbergh is like very simplistic, iconic style,
Yeah.
like black and
So
white.
what I'm saying is like you have, if you understand actually like natural light, when you actually put that artificial light, it's just gonna make more sense, because a lot of the not mistakes, I guess art is subjective, but a lot of things I see, like photos I see, it's just a model standing or like a subject standing, they're blasting them with light, and
For
like,
sure.
the angle of the light doesn't like match the sun behind them or like or in front of them. It's just.
What's levels to the photography? You're talking about you're a master at what you do, you know. So
I never said that. There's
I'm telling
still
you.
so much I have to learn.
Of course, it's always going to be a learning in this industry. You're always going to be learning something.
Always.
So all three of you guys are masters what you do, right? So what are some trial and tribulations that you had coming up as a photographer? What's some things that you know hurt you, or not hurt you, but like things that some tribulations that you had, like problems that you had, some stumps in the road?
Honestly, getting too comfortable in what you do,
Yeah.
that's the worst thing. Like sometimes, like when I'm shooting, let's say like beauty, like I know like certain angles that I shoot. Let's say I get hired by like a new model, like a new agency, and if I see myself actually like shooting the same angle, telling my model the same exact words, when it gets boring, when I get too comfortable in what I'm doing, I think that just kill any kind of arts that I have in mind. So either change the lighting that I'm using on the model, or like change the angle that I'm using, or like change the poses. And I think that actually keep getting inspired and not getting bored in what you do or too comfortable in what you do. I think that's key.
How
What
far
about you?
outside of your comfort zone do you push yourself? A little bit? A lot of it?
Oh my God, so much. Because sometimes like I'm shooting with light, and it's like any person that actually shoots with that, they're like, oh, that's garbage. Like I've shot beauty with just sunlight. Nobody would ever, like, a lot of people, I don't want to say nobody, but like a lot of people will actually see a sunlight and run away, and you just got to challenge yourself.
What about you, Sydney?
You're not a good photographer if you can only shoot.
Trial and tribulations
golden
of
light.
you.
Certain way, certain angle, when the stars are aligned, that's
The wind.
the wind is 23 miles per hour.
It's actually not the right temperature, so we can't actually shoot right
So
now.
we're done. We're going home.
We'll shoot tomorrow.
The wind's coming to the left, 50 knots. Yeah.
Get my protractor out.
So from a model perspective, like I said, you're a master at what you do. So, as you're coming up, what's some trial and tribulations that you had, some problems that you had coming up as a model?
I think the biggest hurdle is how to distinguish yourself. Because there are so many beautiful women, men, people who are out there who look great in front of a camera.
Yeah.
And how to take it from being photogenic to... which I don't even necessarily qualify myself as photogenic. I get weird, squishy faces when I smile. My teeth are goofy. But going from just a good picture to art is a big transition, and how to make yourself a tool of something of art versus just like a pretty face in front of a camera. And that is not... to take anything away from the people who can just stand there and look beautiful. But I think what I try to do is do something more than just myself. And I've talked to people about this when I do the nude photos, is that I try to stay away from nudity for the sake of nudity. Like if all you're doing is taking a picture of a naked body and I'm happen to be the naked body. That's not something that I'm really interested in because you're not elevating it to something different.
Can you repeat that one more time, please?
People in the back.
Please, San Diego, listen up.
Exactly.
This is a learning. San Diego.
Exactly.
People hate me because I be saying this, but I'm trying to. You got to learn something from these people. So said that one more time. It's not just nudity; it's art.
Right?
Let them know.
You're doing something. You're making the naked body into more than what it is. Into
Yes.
more than just a body, and that's what differentiates art from just like naked photos.
Absolutely.
Can I get an amen?
Absolutely. Amen.
That's actually why I refuse to do like lingerie.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am
feel
the
like
least comfortable in lingerie.
There's two things I don't.
Stick with
There's
those
two
ones.
types of photographies I won't do unless it's client work, which is like only going to go to the client. Like I get a lot of like OnlyFans people hire me just for like private shoots for themselves.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm like, like if you want to feel empowered, like go for it.
Right.
I won't
There's
post it.
nothing
I will never post anything like that because
Right.
it's not me. But I think the biggest thing with that is like lingerie and bikini are like inherently sexual.
Yes.
And they're like inherently sexualizing the person that's wearing it. As much as you want to be like, oh, but there's like artistic boudoir. It's like, at the end of the day, it's lingerie, and lingerie was invented to be like sexualized. So I feel like a lot of people, it like sounds backwards, but when you have that like little bit of clothes on, like that little bit of clothing on you, it makes it way more sexual than if you were completely naked.
Absolutely.
I agree because the clothing is there to be provocative.
Exactly.
It's there to
That's its
suggest
sole
what's
purpose.
underneath.
Exactly. That's its sole purpose. Versus if you're like completely naked, there's just a completely like different message being sent. Because
Right.
naked can mean so many different things. It can mean you're vulnerable. It can mean you're empowering. It can mean that you're scared, you're frightened. It can mean that you don't give a fuck about the world. You're so powerful, you don't need clothes. Like it can mean so many different things, and you can
Right.
shape that to exactly how you want with the posing, with the lighting, with the background, with where you're shooting. A bunch of different stuff. Whereas with lingerie, it's kind of like, okay, you're in lingerie.
One trick
Right.
pony.
You're like,
For-
you're like, oh, you're in a really cool place, but you're also in lingerie. So it's like,
That's why I mean, in San Diego, that's what kind of bothers me a lot. You know what I mean? I feel like people shoot just to see girls naked. You know what I mean? And I feel like they're not
it's weird.
creating art.
I don't know. I think
I
it's
get
weird.
it. We're women. I get it, man. We're attracted to women, and I feel like they're not creating art. You know what I mean? Like they're not shooting for a purpose.
There's
That's
a
what-
lane for that, but
Right.
it's a different lane than
Yeah,
Right.
it's porn.
yeah, it's
Right.
a different lane than like artistic photography.
For sure. For sure.
And that goes to like the point. You kind of have to like stay true to what you're shooting, like what you want. If you're just shooting to see girls naked, you're not gonna get that big job that you want.
You're
as,
not.
like a creative artist. You
You're
know
not.
what I mean? You're not gonna get that. You're just gonna stay in that lane, and it's just
Well,
it's just the truth.
the things I see about you guys, the reason why I love you guys so much, because I feel like you're more than just, you're an artist. You know what I mean? Your work, you're perfected your craft, your retouching is crazy, your lighting is super crazy. You know what I mean? You're creating art. You know, her styles is really crazy. Her modeling is amazing. It's not like just a pretty girl. Just, of course she's pretty, but not just sitting up there and just taking a photo. She's creating freaking art, like a masterpiece when she poses. You know, I'm like, ugh. And it's like striking photos. You know what I mean? And we got to have these conversations to elevate the community and to show people, to inspire people. And one thing I noticed with you guys don't shoot in San Diego a lot. You guys go to LA. Why do you guys go to LA and then vice versa stand in San Diego a lot?
I shoot a lot in San Diego.
You do?
Yeah, I shoot
Okay.
my garage.
Well, yeah, shoot your garage.
I got a
I
little-
see you in LA a lot, bro. Don't try that.
no.
Don't try that with me. Don't try that with me.
I'm in LA all the time.
Yeah.
But I still shoot in LA, or I shoot here as much
You
as
see,
I
I
can
see,
because it's
right,
like
yeah.
it's a fucking
Gotcha.
2.5 hour drive. Like
Yeah.
if I don't have to make that drive,
Right.
I'm not gonna make that
2.5
drive.
on a good day.
On a
Sunday,
good day,
no
bro.
traffic.
On a Sunday, no traffic. If it's
Mm-hmm.
a weekday, forget it. 3 hours
Three,
plus,
3.5,
easy,
4.
easy.
Sometimes it's some
So
idiot
like,
making an
yeah,
accident.
exactly. Dude, there's always an accident. But
Right.
the reason I go up to LA is because the creative community in LA is so much better than San Diego.
Right.
I didn't want to believe it at first. I wanted to believe like, oh, like, LA is like overhyped. No, it is not overhyped.
No.
Every person I've met in San Diego is so much more creative and so much more ambitious when it comes to what they're creating versus the people out here.
Why do you
'Cause
think so?
I think so because over there you have to be fully into your craft, otherwise you're not gonna make it.
Do you hear this? I was
Dude,
telling
they're
this.
just gonna
They
step
don't
on
listen
you.
to me.
Yeah.
They don't listen to
Over
me.
here, you can get by not being like fully in it. You
Yep.
can, like, I was getting by doing fucking Instacart. Well, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's like like I wasn't fully into it, but I was still like paying my bills. I was still doing. If you're in LA trying to do that shit, dude, you're not gonna make it.
Chris, I need to cut this clip up so we can, what he just said, because I tell these people all the time, but they're like, oh no, they don't want to listen to me. But now you heard it from the horse's mouth. There you go.
Dude,
you were the horse.
There's I'm actually scared of horses, but there's like so many people that like move to LA and then their heart's not in it, so they like end up not making it, and they got to move back to their hometown. You can't
play around in LA because
dude,
everybody's good.
Dude, because exactly, it's big fish, or big fish in a small pound over here, and then you move there and you're like, holy fuck, like
absolutely.
This is insane. Like the people that you walk by, there's just sports cars, just like celebrities. You're just like, where the fuck am I? I'm like, I'm nobody here. Like you gotta grind twice as hard to get to where you are. Over here you don't have to grind that hard. You really don't, because it's not hard to outshine people when the people around you aren't like fully dedicated to it.
And that's the thing though. Some people don't want to be a professional photographer.
Yeah, that's
fine.
fine.
Don't want to be you guys.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean? Some people don't want to be professional models.
Right.
So if you're trying to elevate your game and make money on it and stand out like how these gentlemen and these this amazing model is, you're gonna have to go harder, baby. You're gonna have to go. You gotta dedicate your life. These people dedicate their life to their craft. That's why they're where they're at right now. They didn't stumble upon to be successful where you're at. But speaking of that, you guys are master at lighting. Like, what inspires you in the lighting? How'd you learn lighting?
You want to go first?
We can start with you.
So you can go first.
Okay, I'll go first.
I have a lot of different styles of lighting. Sometimes
your lighting is ridiculous. Oh, so you more natural lighting? I forgot. Sorry.
No, natural.
He only shoots at the sun.
Gotta be careful.
Yeah. If the sun is at 45-degree angle, that's right. 6 to 7. That's it.
All right.
So not really. My kind of lighting kind of depends on the style the client wants.
Okay.
So sometimes they want like a specific style. I actually shoot that, and it also depends on the theme that I'm going for. Because I don't believe, like, if you're shooting like a specific style of lighting, like he was saying a very important point right now, you can't just shoot the same thing over and over and expect like a different outcome.
Right.
You can't shoot the same exact lighting and expect like a different style of photos. Yeah, the editing might be different, the pose might be different, but at the end of the day, it's pretty much the same.
Right.
So my style right now, currently, I really like harsh light. I really see it coming in style. It's beautiful. When I'm outdoors, sometimes I'm shooting with harsh light. When I'm indoor, I'm not putting any reflector or anything like that, just the harsh light. And these shapes and shadows, gorgeous.
Nice.
So that's what I'm trying now.
Right.
But a lot of clients want that soft light because it makes models look a little bit younger, I guess, makes skin looks a little bit softer. Yeah.
Nature's airbrush.
So, but here's the thing, like sometimes that gets boring.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like when you're shooting with like a harsh light and some shadows and everything, every picture is a challenge. Every picture feels like art. But if you're just shooting the softest light possible, every picture looks the same.
Well, exactly like you were talking about. Are you shooting just a pretty face, or are you trying to make art out of it?
Yeah, exactly.
Gonna have to sacrifice. Gonna have to have some pores.
Absolutely. Your lighting is crazy.
My lighting actually came from what I was mentioning earlier. I was using like $20 lights in my room, and the thing with my room is probably like the size of this area. So like I only had like a corner that big to take my photos. So I was like, I gotta make this shit work. So I was like, let me turn off all the lights. Let me get my single light and let me see what I can do with it. So what I did, instead of focusing on like the lighting, I focused on the shadows. I was like, where are the shadows being casted? And then I made sure that the shadows were covering everything I didn't want to be in camera. So that was like my carpet, that was my beanbag in the back, that was like my wall. Like I was making sure that none of that was visible. But when you focus on the things that aren't visible, then like the only good thing that's left is like the model. Right. So from there, that's when I like started learning how like the lighting casted on like your eyes, and how if you get that little twinkle in your eye, it just like gives it that extra bit of oomph. Yeah. But a lot of people,
when I started photography, like how do you get that? Look at
that little dude, I know so many people like always are like, how did you get that? And I was like, that's crazy. Like that's the first thing I learned. That was like the first thing I learned. And then I remember I took an art class in like sophomore year, and we like did like a unit on paintings, and one of the paintings that really stood out to me the most was Rembrandt, and it was because he did that little triangle. I was like, oh, this kind of looks like that. So I always tried getting like that little triangle, and then when you try and do that, it like kind of everything else just like falls into place. So I stopped focusing too much on like what like getting good gear and getting all this, and I was just like, let me just use what I have and take it as far as I can. So then I like really just focused on making my photos like super dark and super dreamy looking and super like harsh. Like I like my light's not soft. I have like sharp shadows. I have like you look at my photos and like you'll see shadows, you'll see, you know, imperfectness, but at the same time, it's like, I think that's what makes my art really beautiful is that it's not perfect, but it's not meant to be perfect. Cause I like to photograph people in the way that they are in terms of like, people aren't perfect. And I hate the way that like the internet portrays people like Kim Kardashian and stuff. They have all this Photoshop and all this stuff. And it's like, that's just sending a bad message. Like, I want people to see the beauty and imperfections. And I think that's where my lighting kind of developed from, because a lot of my light isn't perfect by any means, but at the end of the day, it like makes people feel something. And I feel like when you can make someone feel something, that's a really good piece of art. And having like barely any equipment kind of made me develop it. And now I have a bunch of equipment, so now I can like do whatever I want, but it's also like, I don't want to do that. I want to stay true to who I am and stay true to the type of photos that I like. I just think it's just like, it also just looks cool. So I also just want to do that.
And I think those little imperfections let people connect to the photo on a personal
Exactly
what I was going to say. Like these like imperfections kind of make the picture more perfect, or makes it have more emotions. Connect with the photo. Exactly like you said.
Because when you airbrush everything out, then it's almost, you get away from the humanity of the picture.
There's actually, it's called the uncanny valley. It's when something looks.
Was that from sophomore year?
It wasn't for software. It's something I like learned it in a random YouTube video, but it's called the uncanny valley. Have you ever seen those photos of like robots that look like very close to human, but you can tell they're not human? Yeah. And because you can tell your brain's really smart. Your brain can pick up on something that isn't a human. So because it's like so close to a human, but isn't a human, it falls into, it's called uncanny valley, where you like recognize it's not a human and it makes you uneasy. And I feel like when people get edited to the point to like, they're like, you can tell it's a person, but it's like, like not a person. You're kind of like it looks good, but it's also like it's not really, you know, it doesn't make you feel good. It kind of makes you feel like,
go with the robots.
Kind of. So like, I feel like that's kind of the same ballpark. You can only edit someone too like so perfect, like because you look at them, you're like, that's not how they look in real life. And then
things kind of homogenize after a while. Everyone kind of gets the same edit or
same perfect skin, the same perfect
proportions.
Dude, I saw a photographer who like edited out people's like birthmarks and like edited out people's like moles and shit. And I was like, dude, like, like the type of like feeling that person must go after that. It's probably not good. They're probably like,
that's really annoying is when they edit out the freckles.
Now it's a trend. Now it's a fucking trend.
How do you edit that out?
Now people are putting fake freckles on. It's crazy how the world works. Something that people used to get bullied about is like now like the trend.
That's funny. A girl just hit me up the other day. One of my friends. She's like, "Should I leave my freckles in?" I was like, "Hell yeah!"
Yeah, that's a defining feature.
Yeah, it's crazy. So let's switch it up a little bit. Let's get a little entertaining. You know what I mean? Let's ask some cool questions that, you know, entertain some people. So let's start with my girl, Sydney.
The fun stuff.
The good stuff. I need to know the craziest photographer model story that you have. I need to know some good stuff. The crazy experience. The crazy experience. I know you want to have some crazy people out there.
Your family and friends are watching this.
You don't got too crazy. You know
hey, Mom.
We can say PG-13.
Oh, man.
But I know you have some experience with these photographers. Can you tell me a good story?
At them. Expose them.
You don't have to see anybody. Nobody particular. You don't got to get anybody particular. But I need to know something good. We need to know the juicy. The meat and potatoes, the ribeye steak.
My potatoes are fairly good potatoes.
Sydney, get them, Sydney. Let's go.
I mean that I've had really good experiences with photographers kind of across the board.
Sydney, let's go. Let's get them.
I can't think of one.
Like, I'm trying to be problematic here.
Nah. You don't have any? No, you don't. It's all good.
You want to go viral? Give it to me.
Nah, I got to do that.
I don't have anything viral, personally.
A funny story. You have a funny story. Let's go funny.
You may have to get back to me on this. I feel like I have little snippets of things. Like I work with Stephanie McDonald a lot, S&M Photos.
Okay.
And
that's my girl.
Love her. She does amazing stuff. And she's usually down for my shenanigans and encourages it quite a bit. So we've done stuff like gone to a lake in the middle of December and just popped in that.
Oh my God.
It's terrible. Yeah. But we got some amazing things out of it. So that's been kind of our jam.
You guys shoot some amazing photos together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She also has a farm too, so she has all the right props, like goats, which we have incorporated.
Yeah.
I too love using goats as props.
Right? I just love
How long you guys have been shooting together? Because you guys got a lot of chemistry.
Yeah, we got a really good vibe. God, maybe 2 years. I think we just kind of clicked as people, which made
she's amazing.
Shooting, I know.
Who could not like Stephanie though?
I haven't met anyone like that.
Right.
So, and I think that's been one of the hugest keys to getting good photos is find photographers that you click with.
Yeah.
I started shooting a lot with Paige, and she like similar style, similar vibe, down to get weird, and I always love weird.
Weird is good. Weird is good.
Encourage weird.
Weird is good.
So yeah, I think finding people whose their weird clicks with your weird
It's
kind
good.
of makes all the magic.
All right.
Now for the
Weird is
meat.
good.
No one. No one.
No, I honestly don't have like a lot of weird stories, honestly. But
Give me funny one. Then. Give me something entertaining.
not funny, but so here's like a lot of like it happened like a few times, more than a couple of times, and it really pissed me off. He might know. A lot of models in LA, they just cancel last minute. And they don't give a shit.
Oh my god.
Dude.
I hate that,
One
dude.
time, I drove like 4 hours because there was traffic. All right. I parked my car like I parked it like right there. Like I was just gonna get out my car, go to her house because we're gonna do the makeup there.
Yeah.
She canceled.
It's always
While you were at the house?
Yeah.
bro, it's always a text. You're gonna hate me.
No, it wasn't even like
And
that.
you're
It
just
wasn't
like,
even
bro.
like that. I need to go see my agent. I have a question for him. He's not picking up the phone.
Ooh.
No?
Damn.
Hey. Oh yeah. I don't think. Yeah. We can't
Yeah,
talk anymore.
and that's not just like one time thing. It always
this
happens.
is something that happens all the
Yeah.
time.
As
think
long
it's
as you're
an LA
shooting in
thing?
LA,
It's
oh yeah,
100%
for
an LA
sure.
thing.
As long as you're shooting
100%.
in LA, that's always always going to be on the table. Another thing that I really hate. Sorry to cut
Oh,
you off.
you guys.
Another thing that I kind of hate. It's he also might know this as well. As like a guy, when you're like shooting, there's a lot of like you're gonna have a lot of fake friendships and fake relationships just for the photo. So you don't. No, I don't know about him, but I've
Well,
experienced that a lot.
I can see that.
I would have people talk to me and stuff like that, and then right after I give the photos, because we're friends, we're just doing collaboration. They would either like not talk or block me.
Block.
Wow.
Oh yeah, twice.
Damn.
So it's something really annoying. So it's very clear now. I don't shoot my friends, and I would never shoot the person I'm dating. It's from the get-go. Nope.
Wow.
Bro.
What's your
Oh,
juiciest
man.
Dude, you gotta have
Yes.
something juicy.
so much
sure you
inside
get a
these
lot.
walls,
Oh man. And here,
or any walls. Or
I would
no
say
wall.
one of the craziest stories I've seen in here. Man, I gotta be careful because I will say this. I can tell you this one. There's one time, this happened years ago. There's one time a photographer was shooting a model in here, and she was talking to him like just this dog and this photographer. Like, no, you didn't shoot me right. You're not shooting my angles. Did I tell you? I didn't tell you to shoot right there. I'm telling you to shoot over here. And this dog and this photographer out. You know me. I'm like, okay. It's not my place to say anything, So of course it's like I don't try to interject with people creating, like I'm just providing the space. But the way she was disrespecting this guy was just, I couldn't believe it. So I pulled him to the side, like, bro, you need to take control of your fucking situation, and you're shooting and you're shooting for, if you're paying her, I understand. But if this is a collab, you need to take control and tell her what you want. You know what I mean? And he put his big boy pants on and came back and just said something to her, and she calmed down, and they kept on shooting.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he got to take control. He took control of the situation. And I was proud of him. He took control of the situation, but the way she was talking to him was like and crazy, like a little kid. Yeah. Like, no. Did I tell you to shoot this way? I told you to shoot over here.
Oh my God.
Get up, shoot over here. Like that.
Damn.
I'm like, hold up, homie. I'm gonna go to my office and come back, and reset this. Came back and it was still kind of crazy. I was like, man, come here. Let me talk to you. Come on.
Come here, boy.
Come to daddy's office.
Sit on daddy's lap.
Yeah.
Damn.
Crazy, man. Crazy story. That was crazy. But I think that's the only thing I can really, that I have up top right now, I can tell you.
Have you guys had stuff where models are like?
I've had two stories. One of them, the model she wasn't a photographer. I think she just took one photography class in high school or something like that. So she's always like, oh, I know like light wouldn't look good if it's like this, or like, oh, what are the settings on your camera? I'm like, I'm not. So I usually tell them like from the beginning, hey, I'm not getting involved in how your face looks. Don't get involved in my settings. I'm not telling you to change your nose. Don't tell me to change my settings. That's how I look at it. And the other model was like, usually when I shoot, I give a lot of like directions, but I don't tell them like something ridiculous. I just tell them, I think this wall looks nice, so maybe sit here and do something.
Right.
So this one model, it was a collab, and she, honestly, to be very honest, I feel like I was doing her a favor.
Right.
So we shot, and then she was just like, hey, like I want to do my own thing, and you just take pictures. I'm like, I'm not that kind of photographer.
Right.
You got the wrong guy. Yeah. So.
Yeah. You know what I hate? I hate this. I hate when a photographer's shooting either a model or a client, and the client was like, oh, I want to do this, but you know what? This Photoshop it later on.
Oh
like,
my God. You get that in wedding because you know that I shoot weddings sometimes too. You get that in weddings all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Yeah. Do you get that like do a model or do a photographer? Well, you probably
Dude, I never get that.
Never?
Yeah, I
Bro, I hear this every day.
All my clients are really chill.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
I've been on the other side of that where someone's like, don't worry, I'll fix your face later.
Oh yeah.
You're like, well, excuse me? I've had it where like someone doesn't
Getting too much with this.
I've had like someone like not like the way I edited it, and then there's just like, oh, could you just like change this? And I'm like, yeah. And it's just like slide it over a little bit more, and then like resend them, and they're like, perfect. I'm
Damn, that's
sick.
crazy.
I've never been.
Interesting.
I've never been in a situation like that.
That's awesome.
I don't know what I would say. I'd probably be like, what?
Yeah, I hear that all the time. Like,
Really?
you know, can you my dress is not, but you know, can you wish this Photoshop it later? I'm like, that is probably 3 hours in Photoshop.
Oh, actually, that actually happened. Never mind. I just thought about it. So
Yeah.
it was like it's just like a small like it was like post. It wasn't like in this spot, but it was like I sent out with the photos for them to select. It was looking like an album cover, and they're like, "Oh, I like this one, but can you just like make my waist a little bit smaller?" I was like, "Oh, that's a little." Oop.
We had this conversation.
Yeah, I was like, it wasn't like
sign up. Go sign up.
This is a good conversation.
it was just a
Do
little.
you have limits on what you'll do?
I was about to ask that because we had this argument last
If I
podcast.
get-
Do you want to take a
No, I love this. You get it in.
If
You
I'm not
helping me.
posting it and it's not for me and it's just like my name's not going to be on it, I don't care.
Right.
Because it's not my photo at that point.
So you don't care about liquifying.
I think you shouldn't do it. Like that's my morals. Like I want if someone's like make me look 100 pounds skinnier, like I'm gonna be like, okay, that's probably not possible with Liquify tool first. So it's probably not gonna happen. But like if you want me to like squish some stuff in here and there, if you're paying me,
I need to hear the model's opinion on this.
if you're
About the casual squish?
like liquifying.
Of
Of course,
you
you don't
this
have
a lot.
you
A lot of
you're in
models
pretty good
like
shape.
have the worst stories with these.
Oh, people.
You're pretty in shape though, so I mean,
Like,
I don't
have
think
you ever
can.
gotten in a photo and you're like, who's this?
Oh, all the time.
Really?
This is
do they
not
do it without
nice.
your permission?
I've whittled down who I work with, and yeah, people will transform me from me to not me.
Stop.
And it's just like, why are you working with me then? There's someone out there who looks like this, but it's not me.
Like if you don't like what I got,
This just
let me
seems
know.
like so much more work for you. Like,
Dude,
pick
it's not
someone who fits what you're
it's not
looking
easy
for.
too.
But there's also been on the other side where, like, if you're gonna edit that, you should probably just edit that too. Like,
Right. I get that.
a thoughtfulness. Like, if we're gonna get into the liquify, like, let's
We're
liquify.
really
up.
liquefying
Right.
some
Right,
shit.
like,
We're really.
Yeah.
Don't hold back.
But,
Don't hold back.
Yeah, but then,
I think
I get it.
small
Choose what we're
touches.
doing
Small
here.
touches. Like if you do, like
Yes.
I use Liquify, not a lot though.
Right.
It's just it has to be tasteful. Like make the model look like she's having the best day of her week,
I get it.
not like someone with 10 plastic surgeries on.
I got
right,
you.
exactly.
And the thing is, I've worked with like few models before, and they actually sent me. I shot like beauty. They might be listening. They sent me the pictures back, and they're like, "Hey, we want like the jaw to look like a heart, whatever that means, or like the nose to look like this. The lips is like." I swear to God, like it got to a point where they sent it like 5 times, and I was like, "Hey, why don't I just send you someone else's picture and you can use that?" Because it's not you anymore. You know, it's not
Damn.
you. I'm really sarcastic, so I have no filter. And
Ooh,
like,
savage.
I ended up like editing the hell out of it. I sent it and never want to work with that person again. Because honestly, like when I'm doing it, I'm like, I feel horrible for doing that. But she's paying me, so it's like a client. So it's like, whatever, I'm not posting these.
I've only liquefied one person ever. It was that one.
How much?
It was a little. Oop.
Oh, see, that's not.
And it was because they were like turned weird and like the light was like hitting her a little weird and she's like, "Can you just like tuck it?" I was like,
Yeah, I mean that's.
but it's so much work. Like if you do like an entire shoot and it's just like you'd have to liquefy all of them. Otherwise, it'd stand out. So I'm like, fuck that. I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
The good thing about my lighting is it hides a lot of flaws.
Yeah.
So if the model's like
Dramatic,
not
moody.
feeling themselves, I put the mirror up. I'm like, you do you, and I'll make you look good. And I'll do it in person with the light so that I don't have to liquefy.
Yeah.
Right. So one more question for you.
Life hacks.
What if you shoot with a photographer and you don't like the photos? Would you let the photographer still post the photos, or?
That's a tough one. There's obviously different schools of thought on how much a photo belongs to the photographer and how much it belongs to the model, and like, is it 50-50? Is it? I think it's different when you are on a contract, like someone is paying you. Those are then theirs. Like, they make the calls. But if it's a collaboration, I usually let them post, and if I really feel strongly, I will just untag myself, which fortunately I really haven't had to do too much. But also, it's their work as much as mine. If they want to use it, great, but it doesn't necessarily have to become part of my portfolio if I feel it doesn't reflect what I do.
What if they put you like in the caption? Because you can like tag someone. It's like you click it, but then you can like go and like put in the actual caption. Do you message them like, hey, can you
No, because I feel like
That photo wasn't.
never talk about it.
I don't want to be that guy, but
No, I feel like that's kind of part of the professional relationship that you undertake. Is like, if I'm working with you, then I feel like I try to do a little premature or like preliminary vetting of trusting the photographer enough to like not panic if they put me in a caption, and knowing like whatever they put out, I'm going to be fine with being associated with it on some level. I haven't worked with a photographer in a very long time where I've had a big like, shouldn't have done this. And that was probably, going back to your very first question of hurdles, is having boundaries. Like, as a female, especially in a heavily saturated industry where every guy with an iPhone is a photographer.
Yeah.
you pull up to the photo shoot. So
It's like how
I know photographers are doing that. I really do. Yeah.
if I pay money and they pull up with an iPhone, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
So anyone can say they're a photographer, and also if you want to get into photography, then you kind of have to decide what you're going to do and what you're not going to do, and deciding that on the fly can be intimidating. I feel like I like to make people happy, and I want the photographer to get what he wants out of it, but it's very easy for a male photographer to be like, let's just take that down. I've had many photographers
Really?
who just say, now go ahead and take your top off.
That's weird. No, here's the thing. No, yeah, here's the thing with that is
What?
that's a huge red flag. That's
Really?
a huge red flag, dude. If you don't talk about it beforehand,
Prior?
Here's the thing.
You didn't discuss that before?
Here's the thing. When I do like any nudity work, it's usually 99% of the time it's the woman asking me to do it. And it's because they've seen my other nude work and like, like, I see that you do it. Like, you're obviously really professional about it. Like, I'd love to do a session with you that way. I'm like, sick, let's do it that way. But it's always, you got to make sure it's beforehand. And even in person, like, you don't ask them to do anything that they're not comfortable doing. I've had like stories of like some of the models that I've worked with. They like tell me like this weird shit that like photographers would be like, oh yeah, by the way, like, are you comfortable doing like full nudity, like out of nowhere, like when it was like supposed to be like a normal like fully closed shirt, and then like it's super weird because like in the moment it's like it's so much pressure, and then if it's like you're just like, oh, what do I do?
Especially younger girls who are just getting into modeling. That's what I would say, like, of all the things, like of all the young or new or whoever getting into it, know what you're willing to do and what you're not, and review that with yourself before you go into a shoot, because there are people with no qualms about asking you to do whatever they want. And I've been out on like the side of a road in the wilderness, and that person's like, go ahead, take your top off now.
Dang.
And you can. What if you drove with that photographer? What if he is pushy now? Like, how are you going to like?
See, this way
it's easy to get into a vulnerable
you always bring a
situation.
friend with you too.
Yeah,
I always recommend people bring like that.
Every time I do a shoot and it's sort of like that. I mean, I don't really do any kind of nudity. He knows that. But like, if I do anything like similar, I actually tell her like, hey, bring someone, like bring a friend.
Oh, always.
And even just the offer can make you comfortable. Yeah.
Like it makes me uncomfortable, honestly. Sometimes, you know.
Oh, a huge.
This goes back to the point. Like, if you're not true to your profession, you're not gonna make it.
Yeah,
like
you're
you gotta
not.
stay true to
You're
it.
not.
To anyone listening, if you ask to bring someone, they say no, don't shoot with them.
Ooh.
That's fucking
Hard.
weird. That's so weird.
Please don't go.
Hey, do you mind if I like bring my friend? I just want it to be me and you. Huge, block them. Fucking report them. That's fucking weird,
Yeah,
dude.
and here's the thing about like you were talking about like models that are just starting, like just like photographers. When you're starting, you're doing like all kind of genres, and you're just trying to find your style.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes like if you, let's say like you do nudes and like in a year you decide like you want to do a tutorial and it's like not nudes at all, you're gonna regret that a lot. And that photographer has all the rights to the images. They can sell them, they can publish them. You can't do anything. And there's many stories of these stories actually happening, and the models actually reaching out to photographers and begging them, hey, I'm married now with kids, I don't want you to sell these photos.
my God.
Because
Yeah.
I'm serious, there's a lot of like photographers that are doing that. They're selling their books.
Oh,
Like
there
all
was a huge scandal with that. Like I think it was like last year.
So
Really?
the model can't really say anything because the photographer owns the rights. So they're selling a book with like all of these naked models on it, but some of these models are like they shot like years ago with that photographer, and they're like, "Hey, I'm married. I don't want to do this," or like I'm retired, or like whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
That's not who I am
Yep.
anymore. Yeah.
They would not listen because they're not just going to take out a whole book for that one model. You know. But yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Honestly,
We going
like,
deep.
especially in the beginning.
Yeah.
Any model, don't do something like that. Maybe
Interesting.
just wait a whole year. I know like a lot of them want to get like followers. A lot of them just want to shoot with that photographer, and they don't care what they're
That's
gonna
not the
do.
way to
Or
do
just
it.
shoot
Wait
with
for
anyone
it.
just to get
Yeah.
material.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wait
Yeah.
for it. Wait for it. If this is something that you decide that you want to do after a year, go ahead. By all means, go ahead. That's,
Just be careful.
That's okay.
Keep in mind who you attract with that kind of photography too, though.
Yeah, you can get yourself into a lane
Yeah,
you do not
because
want
I got friends that
Okay.
do like OnlyFans. They make bank. They make
yeah.
so much money. I'm like, yo, let me hold 10K real quick.
I
But
got a
at
girl
the end of
making
the
20,000 a month.
so much. But at the end of the day, it's
Do you know
like
any guys? Can I join?
at the end of the day though, it's like
20
they're
racks.
all they're following is like 99.999% men, and it's
Right.
like
Right.
horny men too. So it's
Right.
like
Yeah.
the DMs, bro.
you got I know you got to keep in mind, and then it's also like scary horny men, like men that like try and find out where you live and like stalk you and
Be
like do this
careful,
shit.
man. Be
Yeah,
careful.
so it's
I
like
mean, it's such a fine line of making people, I would imagine, for something like OnlyFans, you have to show them yourself, a private part of yourself, but making clear that it's just for show. Like, you don't actually have
Right.
the access to me that I am allowing you to think you do. It's a very
that's like that's like the whole concept of those. They pay because then they think that they have
They-
access to you,
yeah,
and then that's when you get
exactly.
stalkers and you get like all
For
these
that
weird
personal
people.
connection
Well,
that
another
doesn't
thing too.
exist.
Okay.
There's some people that are like using OnlyFans like in a different way too. Like
Yeah.
I know some models that are actually using it, especially this like cosplay models. They're using it not to post like sexy pictures or like nudes. It's just that content that's not gonna make it on Instagram. And like their true fans, only fans, are actually seeing that.
Right.
And some people, if the model is famous or something,
Right.
they would pay for that. You know.
Right.
Well,
So
another
it
thing
depends,
too,
yeah.
I had this problem. I forgot to talk about this, and this is I kind of want to bring this up. I had a girl come in here, and she was 17 and tried to shoot nude, and I was like, "Damn,
That's
this girl-"
illegal.
I was like,
That's
"Damn,
super illegal.
When she came in, you know, I try to stay out of people's business, man. I didn't know what they were doing. Actually, they just booked the studio. And I was looking like, damn, this girl look like she's 15. What the hell she doing? Birthday shoot? So I'm looking like, hold up. So I go in my little office and I came back and this little girl was in lingerie. I was like, oh shit, no, hold on.
Whoa.
I said, hey, hold.
Chris Hansen walks in.
Hold up. I said,
Have a seat. Why don't you have a seat?
how old are you, boo boo? Boo boo, boo boo.
Sweatshirt on.
Yes, how old are you? I'm almost 18. Whoa.
Almost.
Whoa.
Keyword.
Whoa.
my God.
I say, do you know what this is considered? This is called child pornography, boo boo.
That's illegal,
Get your shit on. Let's go. Gotta go. Bye bye.
Gotta go.
You shoot me.
Lock the
I
door.
can go to jail for that.
dude. Yeah.
So please be careful, man. I'm telling you, be
Who's
careful.
the photographer? Like the photographer was shooting with her. Was he okay?
Did he know?
I'm not gonna. I don't
not
call
name,
it,
but
but
was he okay?
I don't think he knew. But I mean, I don't know. The girl looked 15 to me, you know. So for me to like, for my antennas to go up and kind of question, that's my first time ever questioning somebody in here. Like I don't care what you do, as long as it's legal in here, I don't give a shit what you do. But this girl looked like a little girl, like little girl, man. I'm like,
Sketchy.
I was like, man, like something ain't right here. Like, dude, no, hold on.
Yeah.
That was my first time ever. IDing somebody, and that girl, she was almost 17. I think she was, she was 18 in a month or something.
Oh,
Well,
you know what I mean?
important
Dude,
month.
I mean,
that's
yeah.
an important month.
Even a
That
day.
could shut me down, dude. That could have shut
Exactly.
this whole studio
I've
down.
tried
Even
like a few models that
Be careful,
are like
dude. I'm
underage
telling you.
because like agencies would like send them to me. They're like, hey, this model, we just signed it. And you know, like a lot of agencies, they sign models when like 14, 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, she has to bring a mother or a father.
Yes,
I'm
be
not
careful,
figuring
man.
it by myself.
Dude, I don't shoot.
Yeah.
I don't shoot minors.
Be
Fuck
careful,
that.
bro.
Oh, yeah.
Be
I don't.
careful.
That's like a
No,
slippery.
and her
That's a
mom
super
is like
slippery
literally
slope.
like we're shooting like in a studio. Her mom is literally like sitting on a chair and just like next to us.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
like, you know.
We
And
get
also,
minors,
your
though.
style of shoot is very far away from
Oh yeah.
anything.
I'm
Yeah.
either shooting a face or like a lot of clothes on you.
Yeah.
So I'm not like
lot of layers.
yeah.
Well, let's switch some gears a little bit, because we're a little bit over an hour right now. We can't want to go too hard, but let's get into like the more business side of photography. How do you guys kind of make money in your industry? Do you how do you charge? Or how do you make money right now?
So, man, that's a loaded
I
question.
mean, well, like overall view, I guess.
So I think like if you actually take yourself seriously, people will take you seriously too.
Right.
If they ask you, hey, how much you charge? Oh, I charge $200. dollars They're not gonna take you seriously.
Right.
If you're like, give me your email, I'll send you my packages. That sounds way more professional.
So you carry yourself as a business.
Yeah, because it is a business. I
Right.
mean, artists, you can be an artist all of your life. Being an artist is not going to pay your bills.
Right.
Being a businessman is going to pay your bills.
Ooh,
it's all
preach.
about how
Hey,
you
we-
actually.
We're gonna make that a meme. We're gonna quote that.
Yeah,
Man.
because I had to learn the hard way. When I started photography, I started with like shooting weddings.
Right.
So I shot with this one guy, and shooting at weddings, like especially like our kind of weddings, like Middle Eastern weddings, are like 16, 17 hours.
Ooh.
So I shot like 3-4 weddings with this guy, and a few of them were in Arizona. All of this, and at the end, he just paid me $100.
Oh.
So if you actually divide it, it's not even like a couple cents an hour.
I was about to say, bro, go to a Subway.
I
You
didn't
gotta
even
get
take
more
it.
money
I
at
left it on
Subway.
the table and I bounced.
Yeah.
I was like, "This
mean,
is for
I
you.
would've
I'm
taken
not
it.
gonna take
Insult,
that."
yeah.
Yeah, because if I take that, that's an insult to me. I'm not
Absolutely.
taking that.
I mean, that's
and
still
part of the
$100.
reason why I actually got involved into like fashion photography, I was like, "Fuck that shit. I'm gonna be so good that this guy's gonna message me and I'm gonna tell him, fuck you, I'm not working
Ooh.
with you."
I
And
feel
that's what
you.
happened. I swear to God, that's actually what happened.
I feel you.
So, anyways, yeah, it's all about how you present yourself. My kind of style, like honestly, like I feel like when people look at that style, they're like, his work looks expensive.
Yeah, it does. Your
Yes.
work looks freaking super expensive, especially
So,
retouching.
Yeah, so
Bro, it's
they
crazy.
know the effort that goes into that, and they know this kind of work doesn't come for free.
Right.
You know, because yeah. So
A
I
lot of
usually
people
just
think
tell
it is.
So your work.
A lot of people on the internet think it does.
always. If I show you my DM, and I hit, let's shoot, just 2 words, let's shoot.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Let's not.
Oh my god, I'd love to shoot with you.
Right.
Pay me.
So yeah, I think like
I
you
would
gotta
love to
present
take your
yourself
money.
in a professional way, and
In a
people
manner.
will actually take you seriously. When it comes to working with clients, I would say get quality clients, not quantity. Honestly, I would take like say like 4 clients a month, but those clients are good.
Right.
So out of those 4 clients, I'm good enough for the month.
So
I
your
don't
work
wanna
speaks to itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just quality clients. I would not want to take like a job it's not about the pay. It's about the pictures. If I know I'm not going anywhere with these pictures, I
Not
just
worth the investment.
rather reserve that date for the client to come, unless if it's like in 2 days and I have nothing to do.
Yeah, I feel you.
Do you ever
So-
have nothing to do?
No,
about-
he knows.
Yeah. I see a lot of your work goes on advertisements now. You have a lot of work on what's it, the lenses, the
Yeah, I
FX
got
lenses.
sponsors now.
Oh,
So you're sponsored
I
now.
love this
Yeah.
company.
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
good.
You're killing it, man. A lot
so-
of stuff.
With my work, it's a little different. A lot of people ask me, how could I want to do what you're doing. Don't do what I'm doing. It's a lot harder to do what I'm doing than
Right.
it is to do like
Yeah, be
what do you-
original.
Yeah, it's really hard to make money the way I'm making it because it's like not a lot of people can do the work that I can at the quality and at the amount of like efficiency that I can. I post a photo every single day.
Right.
So the reason I leverage social media so that like my clients, like I don't do any outreach. Like my social media markets my photography and people are like, oh, that's cool. I want to hire him for photos. And I want to get into more doing like, kind of like he said, like less clients, but bigger clients. So I want to work with like big names, like record labels and stuff, and like only exclusively shoot like music artists and stuff like that. That's what I want to work up to. But right now I'm just taking like random people that hire me. But the thing with like my type of photography is that like they have to come to you. You can't really go to them kind of deal. Whereas like with product photography, with like beauty photography, all this stuff. You can approach a agency, you can approach a company, you can be like, oh, here's like the type of work that I do. And then, you know, send them like your media kit. And then if they like the way that you take photos for like products, they'll get you product photography and they'll get you this and they'll get you that. With my type of work, like it doesn't work like that. I can't go like to a random person and be like, oh,
so what about you? Yeah. Your style though, your style is a little different. You think your style get you work because it's completely different? He's kind of, you create your own style.
Oh yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, I do more like artistic photography. Speaking of, like this month, one of my photos is being exhibited in one of the art museums in Milan, Italy.
Oh shit! Wow.
I'm, like my art's like it's so like I make art. You know, it's like
Can I get a what's it called, autograph or something? Can I get a picture? Or
shit, maybe. Like I'm making photos that I hope one day are like worth a ton of money. I don't care if it's not worth a ton now because I make money through like other things, like through like the sponsorships, through like companies pay me to just like advertise random things for them, and then I'll also like I have like presets. I have like income coming from like multiple streams of income, not just like my photo shoots. Yeah. And like at the end of the day, I don't want to be making money on just my photo shoots, because when you make money from your photo shoots, if you're doing like artistic photos, it kind of takes away from the artistic aspect, because then you start tying your art to your income, and that kind of starts messing with you, because you're like, okay, I'm making money from this, so I have to make something that's going to be commercially accepted. I have to make something that people are going to want to pay for. And it's like, what if I have this crazy idea, but I know no one's going to like want to pay for it. So at the end of the day, it's like I'm making work that I can make, that can put into books, I can put into posters, I can put into art galleries and stuff like that. And then over time, they'll accumulate wealth and accumulate value through that. And that takes a long time, dude. It's not one of those things you can just like start doing. Yeah. And I mean, I'm like, you know, I'm very grateful that I can do and make money in the way that I am. And I've recently started doing like NFTs and stuff, and you can make a lot of money with NFTs. NFTs are basically just like prints, but they're like one-time prints, and they're digital.
They own it.
And it's like in a single day I made $12,000.
Shit.
Yeah.
Can I get a loan?
Like it's crazy. And dude, that's not even that much, dude. One of my friends made like $80,000 in a single day off of just photos. Off of just photos.
Chris,
so
cut this. Let's get the camera.
There's new ways to make money, and there's new ways for like my type of photography to make money.
Shit.
But it's not easy. It's not easy. Like people are like, oh, I can go do this and make $80,000. No, like there's so much that goes into it. So it's like when people ask me how to make money, I like tell them to go do, if you want to make money with photography, do product photography or do commercial photography. Those two, that's where the money's at. If I wanted money, if I needed money, I would just hit up some agencies, be like, yo, like let me do this. But like I'm at the point where I don't need to. Yeah. Eventually I think I will, just so I can get some new cameras and stuff. Shit. But it's like there's so much, like the way the money structure works in photography is so weird, because some forms of photography just make stacks, and it's like not even like considered good photography, but it's the one that make it. It's like viable. You see like a photo of like jeans, you're like, oh, anyone could take that, but the person who took it probably got paid like $5,000 for that campaign. It's like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, why am I taking these cool photos when I could take these boring ass photos and make way more money? But then it's like, I'm also in it for the art, not really for the money. I'm just grateful enough that I eventually made money from it.
That's when I kind of started making money in photography, when I found a niche. And I
you gotta find a niche. There's always that one guy trying to do everything, and then they're just like struggling.
So I try to tell them, man, focus on one thing and focus on perfect that. Lighting. This was something I was passionate about, MMA. So that's the only thing I really wanted to shoot, like combat sports. So I just only did that. I didn't shoot anything else. But of course, you should shoot other things, because you don't learn from. Because like if I just shoot only in the studio, that's the only thing I know of the studio. So what if I get a client that's want to, a campaign out in the field, and I don't know lighting outside? You know what I mean? So I want to have that experience. So you should shoot everything, but focus on this one thing and build your brand on that one niche. Like him, like, he has this style of lighting that's really artistic, and he has this niche. He perfected that lighting, so he's known for that type of lighting and that art, nostalgia.
I actually had a conversation. I had a conversation with the CEO of this one clothing company who wanted to license some of my photos for like his brand, and we were like on the phone, and then like at first it started like a normal phone call. He's like, oh, like I like your stuff. Here's the photos I want to license. What's your price to license these out? I was like, oh, whatever. And then it kind of spawned into like a full like actual combo. He's like, where do you want to be like a year from now? And then we kind of got into that kind of talk. And he's like, I talk to a lot of photographers. Your stuff is good. Like you need to stop selling yourself short, and you need to make sure that people recognize the amount of talent that you have. Because, and this was like when I first started, so I wasn't like, my rates weren't like crazy. I was like, oh, I don't know if people will pay that much. So he was like telling me, he's like, you need to make sure that like people know that this is your style. Like, you need to brand yourself better.
You have to.
And that's when I changed all my usernames to the same username. That's when I started working more on the branding, because I want it to be like, even now, like people like do a photo that's like kind of similar to mine, and people will tag me, be like, oh, this reminds me of. That's branding. That's branding. Dude, if you can get branding as a photographer, you're set. Because think of it this way. If Nike makes a hotel, we would probably know how that hotel is going to look. It's going to look super athletic. It's going to look super futuristic, super fancy, because we know the brand Nike. If Hyatt made a clothing brand, we'd have no idea what the fuck. They're a hotel brand. They don't have anything special to them. They make hotels. So that's the difference between a company and a brand. A brand 100%. Is you can take it and apply it to as many things as you want, and it'll still be that brand. Versus a company is like, it's good at one thing. If that market dries up, it's over. If Nike wanted to, they could make a sports car. We could probably envision how it's going to look like. It'd probably look
a lot of colors,
a lot of colors, really crazy bends, some like weird foam interior or something. So Nike's a good example of what branding is, and then hotels are a good example of what companies are. So if you're a photographer, you want to work towards becoming a brand, not a company. Because if you're doing like the like hotel route, the Hyatt, if someone can take two photos and you can't tell which one's which, you're not doing your job. As a like artistic photographer. If you're a commercial photographer, you want to be blending into what the media wants at that time.
Well, when he shoots, I can tell like his retouch is so high level,
so smooth.
It's like it's one of the craziest photos I've ever seen. Like you're retouching, and it's like, how do you get to that point, that level of retouching? How do you get that freaking good at retouching?
So before photography, I used to draw a lot with a pencil. So I kind of like my hands is used to like drawing faces. And when it comes to retouching, I have my Wacom tablet. And I basically kind of just fix the skin and everything, pretty much every pore. But in a way, here's the thing. Like, if you actually do the photo in like 10 minutes, it's going to look fake. If you actually spend more time, it's going to look natural. Like, sometimes you see my pictures and you're like, oh, she has perfect skin. But after 2 hours of Photoshop,
One photo will take you about 2 hours.
It kind of depends on her skin too. Like this project that I'm working on right now, the model has perfect skin, but even though it will take me about an hour.
So if a model has not good skin, then how long would it take you to retouch? What's the longest you retouch the
3
suit?
hours.
On a single photo?
Yeah, because the model showed up and she had like some allergic reaction.
Oh damn!
And her face was like reds and rash and like it was pretty messed up.
So what do you do for a model who has perfect skin? What do you do?
Honestly, there isn't like much. If she has perfect skin, if she has like some blemishes, I would just remove them. Maybe small hairs, I would remove them. Like I would just I would just make her look like that's the best day of the month for her, basically. I
don't know, bro. You're retouching, bro. Oh my god! If you guys please get a chance, if you want to see like the stupidest retouching you've ever seen in your life, please go on his Instagram. Please.
It's not easy, honestly. It's hard. I mean, years of experience, basically. And the thing is, you train your eyes to see things that others would not see. Like, I would have my friend next to me, and I would retouch him. Like, what are you even doing? I don't even see what the brush is doing. I'm like, you're not seeing it, but I'm seeing it. There's like light and dark I can see in her skin. I'm trying to even that out. And like, you actually train your eyes to see colors, to see flaws that others may not see. And I think that's what a good photographer, that's part of being a good photographer.
Right.
You see things that others don't.
There's a saying about that. I can't remember exactly how it goes. It's something like good people or skilled people can hit targets that other people can't. Great people can hit targets that no one else can see. Something that I probably butchered it completely, but it's like somewhere around those lines.
Sounds right.
But you hit 100 of those tiny itty bitty targets, and then you pull back from that, and your image is perfect. Versus if you miss 100 of those like little things.
Like the brush. Like for example, the brush when I would like retouch, let's say like the brush at 100%. That's when like you get like a mark or whatever, like maybe something like that. When I edit, it's like 2%, sometimes 1%. So if you actually do that, it's not doing anything. Like you can turn off and on and off the layer, it's not doing anything. But it's like if you do that 20 times, it's doing something. Right. But that something is very specific to what you want.
It's like one of those photos that artists do where it's like 10 minutes on a drawing versus 20 hours versus 10 hours on a drawing. And it's like, you can still like, you can tell that they're like the same photo. And like the 20, minute one still looks like, you're like, oh wow, that's cool. Like, if they're really good artists, you're like, oh, I couldn't do that. That's cool. And then you see the 20-hour one, you're like, oh, that other one looks like shit. Like compared to that one, because it's like, there's this one artist, his name's Miles Art. That's like his Instagram handle. I get a lot of inspiration from him, but he just makes these like otherworldly, super crazy photos, and each photo or each like painting takes him like 80 hours minimum. Damn. And then you like, he always does it like 8 or whatever minutes versus hours, and it's always like the first one just looks so crazy, and then you see the second one, you're like, that first one looks like shit.
Yeah. And
usually you can see all the pores, you can see like all the gradient. It's a perfect gradient. It looks like a photo, but it's a drawing, and you're just like,
unbelievable.
it's crazy.
Yeah. From a model perspective, when do you charge a photographer?
It usually depends if photographers reach out and want to do a project. Those are, then we'll talk about pricing.
Are you really selective on photographers that you shoot right now, since you're like, wanting really sought off a model?
Yes, and that has nothing to do with my sought afterness. That just has to do with, like you, I think I found my niche, and I would like to do things that not necessarily the same project or the same thing over and over, but like you said, like a mood or a brand or a range even, or something like that, where you could look at a picture and you look at, for instance, my Instagram, and be like, oh yeah, that's cohesive. Clearly that's a body of work by someone who has something in mind versus just a mishmash. And it was kind of a conflict whether to create that lane or to try to be someone who could do everything and do like some beauty and some studio and some outdoors. And I found that there are so many people who are so much better at certain things than I am, that I make better work and I do more right by the photographers by doing stuff that I know that I can pull off. And if they want to do a certain thing, like, there are people out there who are going to make their dreams come true where I just can't.
There you go. Awesome. Well, we're about almost an hour and a half in, you know what I mean? So
it's just so much fun.
Yeah, a lot of. Does anything you guys want to add before we close this podcast up? Do you guys want to talk about anything or add a couple more? What do you guys?
Maybe to add to her point is just as a photographer, try not to do everything. I know, like in the beginning, you're trying to experience like different genres. You're just trying to make money. You don't care if it's a wedding or if it's a funeral that you're shooting. But that happens all the time. People are actually
you shot a funeral?
Moody funeral.
No, not me, but I know some people.
Pulling up with my lights.
Shit and real.
Hey, this go hard.
Like, oh, damn.
Wish she was alive to see this.
You gotta actually like find your niche and then just stick to that. Like if you have like 2 genres that you're shooting, that's good. 3 genres, that's a little bit much. More than that, it's become ridiculous. Yeah, just
get off with the genre.
Too many genres for me. I'm not hiring you no more.
It's just because like if you go to like someone's website, you see fashion, you see beauty, you see weddings, you see sports photography, you see everything. You're like
what's this guy good at? Yeah.
What's your specialty?
You gotta specialize.
And trust me, if you have that much variety in your book, people are not going to pay that much for you if they want to get you for fashion. They want to get a fashion photographer.
Exactly.
And not just a photographer that shoots everything.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing this so much with events photography.
I mean,
you can just see it at the bottom, like when you see a business card for all of your occasions.
Yep.
What kind of
for all of your occasions?
It could be anything. It's
birthdays,
like
funerals.
You know, I'm like, bro, like you gotta be specific in what you do.
Yes, sir.
Because now when you actually want to charge people more money, they will pay for you because you have your style. Nobody else has that. And you know what you're doing because you specialize in that field.
It's like a doctor. You go to like a rhinoplasty doctor because they're good at making noses look pretty, right? You don't go to a doctor that knows like
He also does great.
you don't go to your like general practitioner to get a nose job because he's more specialized in like just diagnosing you with whatever. But a rhinoplasty doctor, he doesn't know if you're sick or not. He's like, I know how to make your nose look good. So you're going to go to him, you're going to give him $10,000 and he's going to make your nose look pretty.
We need to charge for this podcast because we're giving too much knowledge, man. I'm telling you.
It's called analysis paralysis.
Yes.
When you have too many options, you decide to just do none of them.
100%.
But
everyone who's in the market for your services is wanting a nose.
But actually, there's a threshold to it. So if you have a vending machine that's Coke only, you're going to be like, do I want a Coke? I don't want a Coke. But if you have a vending machine that's Coke and Pepsi, Now it's not, do I want a soda? It's, do I want Coke or do I want Pepsi? So there's like you got to tweak it a little.
That's why
you got to give a little, you got to, so it's like, you got to give a little option because then it's like, do I want this or do I want that? If it's just one option, it's like, do I really want that? Probably not. But if it's like, if it's one or the other, it's like, oh, I want it, but which one do I want now?
I heard that.
So
last question of the night. This is a good one. And I need an answer from you guys. No, this is a good one. This is a good one.
what's your income before taxes?
No. Your favorite photo.
I volunteer to go last.
That's a hard question. You can't ask that kind of question.
Your
How are we
favorite
supposed
photo.
How are we supposed to show it? Is it gonna like flash on the screen?
Oh wait, they probably know. They go to your Instagram.
Dude, I got
Just
so many,
describe it.
I got
Describe
so
it.
many photos.
Describe it. You know, I know you have a special photo on your repertoire.
There's one
Your
that stands out.
favorite photo that you ever took.
Dude, that's hard.
I know.
That's a hard one.
I know.
There's so many I
we
like.
We can't ask easy questions.
There's so many.
They're like your babies.
I know. I know.
There's a special gem like that diamond.
Especially, I'm super picky with my photos too. So I'm
Really?
just like, yeah, I'm extra picky. I
Well,
know people-
okay, then what's your most successful photo that you had so far?
one of my most successful ones was like a random shoot I did with my friend. I just got like 20,000 likes.
Really?
Yeah, it was her, my friend Kelly. She was like smoking a cigarette. It was like
With
she
the
was,
little
like, leaning back and like the little
I seen it.
vlog and like
I
the
seen
little
it.
eye.
And the little twinkle
Yeah,
in it.
and then I got like
I
20,000.
stalked you a little
I got
bit.
like 20,000 likes. I'm like, that's it's not my favorite though. I think my favorite. Okay, I think one of my favorites. I'll say top 3, top 2. I mean, I don't know. The one that's getting featured in the art gallery. I think that's probably one of my favorite ones.
And what is that?
It's all like it's an all red. It's an all red backdrop and it's like a red covered seat. And it's this woman. She's like, I'll show you guys. It's like bent. She's like bending over and she like looks. I'm describing it in a really weird way, but it like she looks lifeless in it. And the title of it, like, because you have to like title your artwork, it's a shell of someone I used to know, and it's like one of the more like thought out photos I actually took. Because a lot of my photos, I'm just like, oh, that looks cool. Let's do this.
Yeah.
But this is like one of the ones that I was like, oh, like I actually have like I'm going into it with like a plan. I'm going into it with like an actual idea. So this is what the photo looks like. It's this one.
We gotta show the camera too.
Where's it? Which one?
Camera's here. Your
kinda
camera's
one.
here. Oh,
So it's this one.
that's a cool piece.
And yeah,
that tells a story.
this one's getting featured in the
That's beautiful.
gallery.
Yeah.
And the reason I like it so much is because, like I mentioned earlier, nudity can be described as like so many different things.
Absolutely.
So the nudity in this is representing how empty someone feels when they're like in a depressive state. You know, when you're depressed, you feel empty. You don't really feel like you have a personality. Personality is usually you use clothes to show your personality. You know, someone that's more bright is going to wear, brighter colored clothes. Someone that's more sad is going to wear darker clothes. Someone that doesn't feel anything they just don't have any clothes on them. The color red represents both the like fire nature, the ambition in them, the happy moments, as well as the sad, the fear, the loneliness. Because red's the reason red's my favorite color is because red's such a like intense color. Let me read exactly what I put as the thing for
Bro,
it.
you're an alien, bro.
Because it's like I made I like sat down and like actually wrote it out because we had to. I'll show it so I don't have to guess it. But I have so the piece is called A Shell of Someone I Used to Know, and this is what I wrote for it. So the lack of clothing represents a lack of identity. The subject is slumped over, representing the exhaustion from carrying heavy emotions. The empty room depicts loneliness. The red represents both the passion, love, and joy, as well as the anger, pain, and stress experienced. This is a depiction of what it looks like to know someone, to see someone you once knew and not recognize them anymore, for they are not who they used to be, but rather a shell of someone you once knew.
And that's beautiful, bro.
So that's probably one of my, it's one of my more deep photos. A lot of my photos that look deep usually aren't that deep, but this is one of the, cause like she's like one of my really close friends. And like, it was like super, like when we took it, we were like laughing and like joking around and stuff, but we like had conversations later about like, really deep stuff. And
that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's probably my favorite photo.
You have any?
I mean, I don't have that story.
He's like, I should have gone first.
I don't have that kind of story. But there's a photo that always stands out to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because the shoot, it happened randomly. The location was random. I showed up. I had no idea how it's going to look.
Mm-hmm.
The day before, I went to like thrift shop and I got like a wedding dress for like $50. So I was like, you know what? The model's actually going to look good in that wedding dress. So, and the night before, the agent actually reached out to me. It was supposed to be kind of like a beach shoot, like a bikini kind of shoot. And she wanted an editorial. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to give her that wedding dress at the beach, call it art. So we showed up to the beach and then we shot. And honestly, like, you know, most of my photos are like very sharp and all of that. And it's just that one photo. You know how when sometimes you put the camera like this, your shutter like changes like with a belt and everything?
Right.
And I just took that photo. It's out of focus, but to this day, it's my favorite photo ever.
Wow.
Because of that imperfection that makes it perfect for me.
Damn.
You know? And the model wasn't even posing. She was just like sitting there waiting for me to actually get my settings right, get my shit together. And I was like, you know, oh, it's nice.
Wow.
I was going to delete that.
That's
and I was
awesome,
like,
man.
that's actually really nice.
Yeah.
And the whole theme of the shoot was like castaway because the model, me and the stylist, we were kind of, we're all like immigrants. And the whole idea of the shoot is that like, she's like, we're castaways from like our homes and countries. So like she's wearing like fancy clothes at the beach, you know? So it's kind of like that. I have like
Intricate, man. I love the stories you guys are telling. That's awesome. And it's not just a photo. You guys are putting like stories and a lot of behind it. My girl.
All right. So there's no way that I can pick a favorite. It's too hard.
Totally understand.
But one standout, my most successful photo was out in the dunes. I took it with, it was an awesome dream team. Bina was there.
I remember this one. I seen this one.
Oh.
Woo, that's a good one. Give me some. That's a good photo.
Steve.
Cynthia
took it.
Yes.
He is a
beast.
Yes. Animal.
Yeah.
Robert Buchanan was the videographer.
That's my guy.
A guy named Michael was doing.
Your camera's right here.
do shout out.
Michael, you were doing the tape, and it was one of those where we cut. I did nothing. I stayed there. He cut hundreds of pieces of tape and then crafted outfits for Bina and I, and we each got a different tape situation.
I think I've seen that.
Yes.
Beautiful photo.
And we drove our asses, so we're taped just like 3 hours each of taping, and then we get into a van. Sweet Robert, thank God there was air conditioning, and we're trying not to move this tape for 3 hours, and we get out there, and this was like wedding day because everyone was out there taking wedding engagement. There were hundreds of people out there.
Nice.
No.
Yeah, let me scoot on by here with my tape.
Careful. So we get out there and it's just the dunes, which we try to go when it's empty, are just covered in people.
Love that.
And it's amateur hour, so everyone's out there fucking up the sand and just like footprints everywhere. And so we have to travel out to across the dunes, and we have maybe like 30 minutes of light, so the sun is going down and the wind, of course, is going 60 miles an hour, and we have all this strategic tape, and now my nipple tape is flapping in the wind. Nothing is working. Yep. And Steve gets sand in his eyeballs, so he's shooting blind. He can't see, and my nipple tape is flapping, and the sun is coming down, and brides are coming across our pictures, and we had maybe like 5 shots where like something wasn't fucked up, and even those were just
5.
Like, come on, do something.
Yeah.
And there's tape flying across the desert, and Robert's chasing it down, and it was just a clusterfuck. It was sand in my eyeballs. I have lashes digging into my retinas, and I'm trying to play it cool.
Yeah.
And there's one, Steve somehow fired off a bunch of money makers that day, and Bina looked gorgeous, even though, again, like sand in the eyeballs, sand in all kinds of places.
Dude, it's very sandy.
It was muy sandy. But there was one where Bina and I were standing there holding hands, and the whole thing was just kind of like a powerful. Everything about it was supposed to be powerful. We had like our hair up, standing on top of the dune, sunset hitting just right, just red flooded the sky. Bina and I grabbed hands and like tried to get that eyelashes out of our eye at the same time. And Steve just nailed it. And that was our
That's a beautiful shot.
Picture.
I remember that one vaguely. That was a beautiful shot, man. I didn't know all the dramatics behind it.
That's
2
hours?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like
about 2 hours. Yeah.
Probably between like taping, driving, hiking, driving back, we had paint everywhere. It was probably like 12 hours of prep for like 20 minutes of photos.
What if you did all that and none of them turned out?
But that's some dope photos though. Some really nice photos. Some really nice photos came out of that.
Throw
Though.
my camera against the wall.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah, I think I've shot in that location, and it was just sand everywhere. I think the whole shoot was like 10-15 minutes.
Dude, you know a crazy story?
In the magazine
crazy story about
so
that. I was doing one of my friends did a music video there, and he had like this. He's friends with someone who like owns a video company, and we went to the sand dunes. And do you guys know what red is? Like the red cameras?
Yeah. Oh shit, yeah.
Dude, motherfuckers pulled up with 2 red cameras. They're just like dropping them in the sand. I'm like,
oh yeah.
Are you crazy? Like, bro, that's a $50,000 camera. They're like, oh yeah, let me just set this here. And then they're just like opening it. There's like just winds. Dude, it's like it's going into like the sensor. They're just like, oh my God. And then put the I was like, oh my God.
Yeah,
bro, it was insane.
Yeah.
I'm just there like babying my camera, and they're over here with the red, just like tossing it around. I'm like,
that's crazy.
You want to open it?
I was like, I wish I had that kind of money to be like, dude.
Courtney,
That's
favorite,
crazy.
go.
Favorite photo.
Get out of this question.
Shit.
Or photo that's mean the most.
UFC 205, Conor McGregor, double champ. I had one of the most iconic photos he ever took, like 2 belts hanging up. Dopest photo.
Money shot.
Yeah.
Money shot.
That was probably my favorite photo ever.
Those are the type of photos that like end up in like history books too.
Yeah. Oh, bro, this is nasty photo.
Like I remember, like I always watch like Muhammad Ali compilations, and it's like, imagine being the guy recording that.
Yeah.
Like you're recording a legend,
Knowing
being the
as it's
best.
happening,
That was like such a special
Dude,
moment,
what a
special
flex.
event.
What a flex being like
Conor
that.
McGregor, yeah, man, like get on the cage, 2 belts, and I got one of the dopest shots ever.
That's crazy.
Ever of him. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was probably one of my best shots ever.
Who's the craziest fight you've ever seen or photographed?
Fighter? I shot all of them, bro.
Because MMA is not that big, right?
Oh, it's huge.
Is it?
Oh yeah. Maybe John Jones. I shot all the Conor McGregor stuff. Mayweather, Conor McGregor. That was a good one. I shot them.
Oh, you did?
Documented
damn.
that. The whole whole process. I documented the whole thing. Followed Conor McGregor for like 2 or 3 months.
Damn, that's crazy.
So that was pretty good. That was one of the biggest fights I ever shot. But I don't like shooting that type of stuff because there's a million people there, and you like just gotta shoot and put your head on the camera over your head and just shoot. So I didn't enjoy a lot of that. But yeah, some iconic moments for sure. Yeah,
Damn,
good
that's
times. But yeah, man, we're gonna wrap this up, man. I appreciate you guys for coming out. Like I said, I respect what you guys do because you master what you done, and you know it takes time. And I know the effort that you have to put into your craft to get to the level that you're at. You know, whether it's modeling, photography, creating your own lane, perfecting, retouching, perfecting your lighting, and creating your own style. So I appreciate you guys for coming on the show. Once again, can you shout out your Instagram so people know who you are? If they don't know who you are, get their life together. Can you tell me your Instagram?
Yeah, I'm Sydney Stone at The Beast and the Babe.
Beast and the Babe is in the house.
We have little icons.
Yeah, we got you.
I didn't even see that.
My boy Chris.
I didn't even prepare
Copy and still. You know, that's the producer back there. He did this. You know,
can never
so we
change
got
your
you.
username now.
Yeah.
You're locked in with that.
All right. So give me your Instagram as well.
All my stuff's Moody Darkroom. Everything. Yeah. So that's Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Visco, Pinterest. I literally when I made it, I went on every single one and just secured the username just in case I wanted to use it. So literally just in case, like I didn't even start using like TikTok when I first made it. I just made sure I got the username.
Yeah,
so,
that's
Moody
awesome.
Darkroom on everything.
There you go. Make sure you follow everybody. And my man Noah.
Noah Nash. Pretty much Instagram.
Yeah.
Facebook too, but nobody really uses that anymore. But yeah, Instagram, yeah, Noah Nash.
Yeah. So that's the end of our episode. This is the Hendo podcast. I'm your host, Courtney Hendo, and we are out.
Thank you,
Let's
sir.
go. Let's get it. Damn, my nail broke. Man, that was a good one.